Hi guys, and welcome to another Zimaleta. In today's video, we're going to be replacing a fuel filter on a 2008 Sprinter van. I'm going to show you how to do it. That way, you're going to be familiar when you're actually going to decide to change your own. And you'll be able to do it no problem, saving you some money. Sometimes you have to do this on the road. So, very important to know this, because if you're driving on the highway and you're stopping on the gas, and you're noticing that you're really flooring it and it's barely going, and you could hear your Sprinter's working fine, but it's not that lively anymore, well, chances are your fuel filter needs replacing. So try to make it to the next exit, make sure you have a spare fuel filter with you, and go ahead and actually tackle this job and replace it. And then your Sprinter will regain its full performance, hopefully, if it is your fuel filter. The symptoms that I just explained to you guys caused by fuel filter. Also, if your Sprinter is no longer starting, well, you've taken it beyond the fuel filter replacement, and chances are it is so bad that no fuel is going through. Your Sprinter might actually shut off on the road completely due to the fuel filter failure. That is actually when you haven't replaced it for a while. So it is definitely a good idea to replace these. At least every 20,000 miles. You know, if you could afford it, do it every 10. But I think that's going to be like an overkill. But 20,000 miles, 30,000, you're going to be okay. But sometimes you just replace the filter, but you got unlucky and you got some fuel after really heavy rain, and you got some water inside your fuel filter. In that case, some fuel filters you could actually drain. They got a place where you could drain them. Not this one. So you'll have to just have another one and go ahead and actually replace it. So let's do it. All right, guys. The very first thing that I'm going to do on this one is there's a vacuum line and it's in the way. So you got, a couple places where you could disconnect it. You got a place right here that you could actually disconnect it. There's really no room to grab it, so there's a good chance you'll end up breaking it. The only thing we need is to disconnect it right here. So first you're gonna need to pull this little vacuum hose off, and then go ahead and actually pull this off. It might make a little air noise, but that's all right. Like that. Ouch. I just hurt my hand. So now you're able to kind of pull this up and around and kind of out of your way. So the very next thing you're going to need to do is go ahead and actually disconnect this electrical. This electrical is kind of tight here. So I'm actually going to use like a flathead screwdriver to pry it. So here is that. Comes out easy as pie. So I actually heard it somewhere. I think it was a movie line. All right, let's see. We'll just put that there. That way, we'll twist it out of the way. But by the way, this is for the air hose and stuff. So we could just kind of put it right there just to give ourselves some room. So the other things you want to do is go ahead and actually pull these off. And one of these lines is thicker than the other. So the possibility of you misaligning them shouldn't even be there. But just in case, let's just do this. Okay guys, so if you're afraid to make a mistake, then take your fuel line that's furthest. I don't know, put some paint on it. I actually just went all the way across. You don't have to do that because this fuel filter is getting replaced. So just mark the furthest one away. That is the thickest one. Somehow put a, you can put a little sticker on it, whatever you want. So that is that. Now you have to continue and removing it by using a flathead screwdriver. I could tell somebody at some point did replace this fuel filter, and that's because they're using these type of connectors. If it's the Mercedes type, chances are nobody replaced them before. So you need to pull off the fuel lines just like that. One thing I am surprised that somebody actually tightened up that bolt, which is a E-socket. Guys, if this bolt isn't loose on yours, you'll have to go ahead and actually loosen it. Using an E-socket, it's kind of, this actually holds the fuel filter in. Now it's loose. It's, you know, it could be removed. This is a E-socket, E number 10. You could actually do a lot on these printers just with a 10 and a 12 E-sockets if you're on a budget. But an E8 is also very, very important. So if you could just get 3 of those, that's good. If you're not on a budget, get the whole set. I'm actually going to link it up in the description before. I said I'm going to link it up in the description before. Okay. You guys get it. So anyways, let's continue. So the very next thing we got to do is we need to actually pull off this little piece. And these things are easy to break, and that's probably why somebody broke it. So guys, because this is so old and looks like somebody else struggled with it before and was not successful, so I could see clearly that the way that they actually done it is by removing some of these other components that's in the way, like the oil fill tube and this. Let's see, pull this out and pull this out of here like that. So a lot more trouble, but less chance of you breaking something. So over here, we need to chase this line down. It goes here. There is actually a place to drain it right over here. I kind of don't like this design for obvious reasons, because the place also over here, like to disconnect it, is the same type of idea. And I could already tell that that's broken too. So the one at the bottom is broken, the top one is not. So here's what I'm gonna do. There's a piece of rubber here. It's just a basic trash. I'm gonna pull it out and throw it away. And I'm gonna disconnect this bolt that it's holding onto and just remove that whole assembly. So that particular bolt is it is an E10. So I'm not sure if you could see what I'm doing, but you know, it's not a really good location. There it is. So this bolt is not separated. So you can see we're just going to lift up this whole thing with a fuel line, and then we'll actually pull it out together with the whole assembly. So that being said, we're going to do the very next thing. We need to actually remove those other little bolts. So these are T20. So we're going to remove a couple of these. Only reason I'm actually using this impact, it's just so much faster. So put them in a magnetic tray. That's what I did. So now we need to see if we could actually twist this out of the way like this and pull this out. Now this is always a challenge. I don't care what kind of sprint it is. Trying to pull out these things here in itself is very challenging. But this is twisted out of the way. At least it is somewhat working. So what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to come in here with some pliers, grab onto it, and see if I could pull it. And of course, we still have this vacuum pipe. Let's see if we got it somewhat loose. No, we didn't. See, I'm going to try to open them up just a little. Okay, we have removed that now. So technically, what I gotta do now is actually loosen this assembly here. Like this. And now we could actually pull out this fuel filter housing. So what we're gonna do is go ahead and actually prepare the new fuel filter for installation. I used to put fuel right in them, but what you could do is you just put turn your key to the second position. It's going to do the same thing for you. It's these particular sprinters, 2004 and up, they have a mechanical fuel pump, which is a high pressure, and they have a fuel pump inside of the fuel tank. Unlike the 2002 and 2003, they don't have it. So for you, you'll have to put fuel in your fuel filter. So as you could see, because I've disconnected this whole line all at the same time, you know, I was able to actually remove this whole thing. Now this here, I know there's got to be some kind of trick to removing this, and I believe it's this way. So what you could do is you twist this out, this line, and you put like a normal type of drain plug in. I do have like a spare one, because this one, as you could see, it's a little bit more challenging to do. It makes the fuel, it makes your job a whole lot harder by, gosh, why can I speak? Oh my goodness, are you kidding me? I get like so distracted. Everybody struggles with this fuel line, guys, because it is kind of like in a way, and it's this plastic here is so brittle. I've seen people cut these things off, probably for the same reason, because they just cannot pull it off. So I'm going to recommend to my customer that we just update it and you know, do away with this system, because I mean, look, maybe I've never successfully pulled one of these things out, you know. Maybe it's not made to come out. It's like the same thing over here. You see, people have attempted. I don't know. I mean, we could attempt to try to pull this off. I'm not really sure how's this thing supposed to come out, but this particular thing is now disassembled, and you know, this does twist. Let me see if we could actually twist it off. And the only reason I'm sharing this with you guys is because some of you out there is wondering the same thing. Like, how the heck do you pull this out? And I don't know, because I've never pulled one out. So I'm kind of thinking, I mean, is this a twisted type of motion? And apparently I can't really release it that way. And I can't pry it apart. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to update this design to a different one with one of those plugs, if my customer wants that. But that's what I would do on mine. So guys, I found the piece that I'll be installing. So in order to make this easier on yourself, you could just install one of these. One of these here. So to drain it, I mean, you'll be able to simply come here, twist it, and then it's going to drain out of there. And basically, this just installs like that. And you could just put it all the way on. You could just put it like a little drain line, which is really easy to find. Squeeze it on there, twist this open like this, kind of like the way I have it. Turn your ignition to the number 2 position, and you'll be able to actually drain water out. With this other system that they have, let's see. This little drain plug is located kind of like to the right, to the left, no, right side of the engine if you're sitting behind the steering wheel, which would be the correct way to say it. It's located kind of like behind there, so it's kind of, I guess, it's easy to get to. I mean, it's still kind of hidden, but I guess it's kind of easy to get to. But when it comes to replacing your fuel filter, which you'll need to do quite often, it makes a big pain because you're dealing with this whole thing, and it's brittle. It's this plastic is just brittle, and every single one I've seen, they're all broken like this. So the fixes is simply just install like one of these things. So what I'm gonna try to do is dip this in some diesel and twist it on there. There we go, it goes out so much easier now. And this is a final result. Let me know in the comments below if you like this idea. I've seen a lot of guys do this to their sprinters because the other way is just so much more difficult. So what we want to do now is take this and plug this in all the way in. Until you hear it snap. So just like that, and then you twist it over, and then of course you got to replace those screws. And this time we're not going to use any impact action, because for the installation you don't want to do that. So instead, I'm just going to use this and put it in like this. There we go. That's nice and tight. This is ready to go and get replaced. So next, I need to go ahead and actually move a couple tools out of the way. and get this fuel filter out of here. And this fuel filter installed. So now we got to install the furthest line, which we'll mark with purple, towards the back, like so. And this second line right there. We got to put this seal there, and that one is going to go towards the front. So now we need to get everything tight. I'm really sorry if you can't see behind my hands. I really don't even know how to align this any better. This is just sort of how you have to deal with it. You want to make sure it's nicely aligned. All right, that is there. So what I like to do for this is actually leave this bolt, but leave it, you know, kind of like loose enough to where next time you're gonna try to replace this fuel filter, you're capable of doing it. Now, some people like to, you know, leave things original and really tighten it for themselves. But let's just, you know, give you this example. Driving down the highway, your fuel filter just went out. You got to replace it really quickly. You don't have an e-socket. What are you going to do? So much better to just leave that like that, because chances are you got a flathead. You could easily remove these and easily disconnect that little connector. You'll need like a T20 to be able to get to that. Most likely you probably got it if you've been changing fuel filters before. And that's it. You just need a fuel filter. Pop another one on there, you're good to go. Anyways, this fuel filter replacement job, it's complete. As you remember, I need to take this vacuum hose back around and plug it in right there where it goes, all the way. Plug this little vacuum line back in. So it is now complete.